everyone! Today we are going to be talking all about exams slash GCSEs slash A-levels slash general stressful situations. You've asked me some questions, so let's get on with it. The first question is top tips for exam stress. Some people will really disagree with this, but I would say the morning of the exam, treat it like it's not important. Obviously, work towards the exam, revise for it and do your best. But if on the morning of the exam, you're thinking, oh my God, right, I've got to get this grade, you are less likely to do well. So if you just go in there thinking, what will be, not the end of the world if I don't do well, then you're going to feel a lot calmer, your brain will work a lot quicker, and voila, you will do better in the exam. But on the other hand, I would say leading up to the exam, make sure you feel prepared, because if you feel ready for it, then you're going to find it easy and it's not going to be as stressful. The next question is, how do I cope with so many subjects and 2 years worth of knowledge? Zoe, I feel you. Obviously, it is a very stressful time, but don't think of it all in one bulk. Think, right, I know that module, I know that module, I know that one. Not just, oh my God, how do I remember all the modules all in one go? Kim says, how did you manage to have a social life, revise and spend time with family? Especially with my A-levels, I used my free study periods to revise a lot. I didn't waste those study periods, and that made all the difference with my exams. I made sure that I got all of my work done when I was at sixth form, so from like 9 o'clock till 3 o'clock. For me, that was work time. Obviously, there was like the odd study period where I'd sit and chat with my friends, or I'd do something that wasn't work related, because I do think you need a break every now and again. But for the most part, I spent my study periods actually studying, and then when I came home at 3 o'clock, I was done for the day. So I managed to go out with my friends, I saw my family. So I would just say using your time wisely is the best way to juggle all three things. Molly says, how much more fun is summer after exams than just every other summer we've had, because it's hyped up so much? I do think there's something special about the summer after exams rather than just a normal summer, because you feel like you've accomplished something, it's done, you've got no more worries, you haven't got to worry about it in the future, and you've spent the past couple of months working really hard, so you can really let your hair down, have a break and fully enjoy yourself. So yeah, it is hyped up, but I think it's worth the hype. I like this question. Phoebe says, what's the best way to concentrate in an exam rather than stressing over the fact that the time has come and it's your one shot? I would say completely get rid of that mindset. Don't be thinking it's your one shot, don't be thinking, oh my God, the time is now. Think of it more as like the beginning of the end. I'd say GCSEs or A-levels are kind of like running a marathon. Like the revision and the work you do is the running of the marathon, and then the exam is when you cross the finish line. So then you're done and you can have your great summer. The next question is, how do you calm yourself the night before an exam? Especially when I was doing my GCSEs, I used Rescue Remedy a lot. I don't know if anyone else has heard of this, but it's basically like a little herbal treatment. You put like 3 or 4 drops on your tongue and it calms you down so much. It's all natural, obviously, there's like no medicines in it. You can buy it from Holland & Barrett, you can probably buy it in Boots, I'm not sure, but any like chemists, you can get it there. I think it's about £6, but that honestly worked wonders on me. I don't know what it is, but it like does something with the chemicals in your brain to like neutralize them out and calm you down, and it really did work for me, so I would definitely recommend that, especially the night before the exam, because I found that was when I was the most stressed. Personally, what was your easiest exam? At GCSE, my easiest exam was textiles by a mile. I got an A* in that exam because honestly, one of the questions was draw a child's coat, and you had to like annotate it with zip because easy for the child to use, pink because kids like bright colours. Honestly, that was like one of the big questions at the end of the exam. Another one of the questions was, what does this symbol mean? And it was a picture of a hand in a bucket, which meant hand wash. So I just think generally textiles is a pretty straightforward subject because it's mostly like coursework based. That was definitely my easiest. Emily says, did you stress every day up until results day? No. To be honest with you, I completely forgot about it because I just thought there's no point worrying about my results, because what is done is done. I'm not going to be able to change my results. Worrying about it isn't going to change my results. And I think if you worry about results day, then it's always in the back of your mind. So just try and forget it. Forget that you're even going to get your results. Just think, I've done my exams, I'm done, I'm finished. Then trust me, your summer is going to be a lot more relaxing. The next question is, do you prefer exam style essays or right or wrong ones like maths? maths. I like to have a bit of a mixture. I mean, maths wasn't my strongest subject, but I did like a multiple choice, but doesn't everyone? But I did actually find maths quite satisfying. Even though I couldn't do it, I quite liked the process of like working things out. I'm quite a logical thinker, so I found it quite satisfying. However, my strengths are definitely based more in like essay style exams. I took creative writing at A level and I actually really enjoyed the exam. I really got into it and I was really like, yeah, because you're basically just like writing a passage that you want to write. You choose what it's about and the world is kind of your oyster in that exam. So I did enjoy it, even though it was my longest one. I can't remember how long it was, but I think it was either 2.5 or 3 hours long. Do you prefer coursework or exams? All my life I've preferred coursework. Like I said, I'm quite a logical thinker, so I like having a process of doing things, which is what you have with coursework, because like you're working towards an end goal. Amy says, what is your worst exam experience? Oh my gosh, do I have a story to tell? It was the first of my 2 business A-level exams in year 13. And I woke up that morning and I just felt a bit funny. Like, you know when you just feel like something's not right? Every time before an exam, I felt sick in the morning. But I would always get over that by the time I'm like in the car and I'm on my way, because I'm like, no point in stressing about it. What'll be will be. But it wasn't just like the normal feeling that I have with every exam. I felt like weird in my head. I felt bunged up and just gross. I just kind of like tried to forget about it and tried to focus on what I had to do that day. But when I got in the car on the way to my exam, my nose dripping with blood. Sorry if you don't like blood, but I had the worst nosebleed I've ever had in my life. It just was not stopping. It was like a tap. So I get to school and my mum's taking me in the car and I'm sitting there in the car park, like loads of tissues. It's all down my tie, it's down my shirt, and I had to be in the exam hall in like 5 minutes time. So my mum runs into the reception of my school and gets a box of tissues, comes back to me at the car and she's like, Hannah, they said you've got to come out of the car, you've got to come into school. And I was like, oh my God, no way are they saying that. I'm just sitting there with loads of tissues like this, like I don't want to move. But anyway, I went into the reception area. There are other students walking past me, looking at me like, what's wrong with her? I'm just sat there. By this point, I think I was crying because I was so stressed and everyone else was in the exam hall at this point. Like the exam had begun and I wasn't in it. And then the head teacher of my school comes out of his office, which is right next to reception, and he just looked at me and he was like, oh, Hannah. But he was so sympathetic and lovely about it. Like, he sat down next to me, he knew I should have been in the exam, and he was just like, this happens to everyone. And he told me a story about how he got stung by a bee before one of his exams and he still did all right. And he was like, so these things happen, doesn't matter, just don't stress and it will stop. Because my nose was still bleeding at this point. I'm sat there talking to him like, yeah, nice. But anyway, long story short, about half an hour later, I got taken into a separate room with an examiner of my own and I just had to sit there. And I think this exam was 2 hours 15. They gave me a box of tissues because my nose was still bleeding, but it like calmed down a lot. And I'm sat in this classroom by myself with an examiner like watching me, because obviously she's supposed to be walking around, but she's not going to walk around the room when it's just me. So I was like writing, holding tissues like this for the whole exam. That was the exam I did the worst on, but I wasn't surprised. The next question is, how did you make revision less boring? I remember rewarding myself quite a lot. I know they say you should do like 15 minutes of revision and then 5 minutes break. I did like 15 minutes revision, 10 minutes break with a snack. And that's how I got through it. I just kept having regular breaks, and it sounds sad, but I gave myself something to be excited about, aka the snacks. And then the final question is from Emily, and she said, did you burn your notes at the end? I can't wait to burn mine. I actually didn't burn my notes. I still have them. They're all under my bed or they're in a cupboard somewhere, I'm not too sure. But I still have all of them because I thought, well, you never know when you're gonna need it. But then I suppose my subjects were kind of like, I had notes about business studies, so like how to set up a business, which could be helpful in the future, slash is gonna be helpful for me in the future. And I also had creative writing, which is basically like practicing writing stories and stuff. So I wanted to keep that because it's stuff that I've written. I thought I could read that in the future. I could show my children that. It's not like revision. My media studies notes, I don't know where they are. They're somewhere, but I know I'm not going to read them again. That was A-levels though. GCSEs, I think I just threw them all away. I don't have the notes anymore because who needs to know the cells of a leaf? Not me. And that brings us to the end of this Q&A. I hope my advice has helped you. I hope my horror story has made you realise that nothing can happen that's as bad as that. Good luck if you are currently taking any exams, whether it's your GCSEs, your A-levels, or you're finishing a year of uni. Just remember, stay calm, deep breaths, have some rescue remedy. I would highly recommend it, and make sure you're prepared, and then nothing can go too disastrously wrong. Not the end of the world if you don't get the results you're hoping for. Life goes on, and I've learned that you make the best of the grades you have. So yeah, I know it's easier said than done, but just try to stop worrying about it. Let me know in the comments down below if you are taking any exams at the minute and which ones they are. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!